What's going on, everybody? Thanks for joining me here on this review of The Eternals. It's the latest movie from Marvel, from the MCU. It's a bit of a different approach all the way around for this Marvel film. It fell around like 240, 235, 240, something like that. I say that. Look, I'll start with this. Did this movie need to be 235 or 240? No, it did not. Did I like every minute of it? Yes, I did. It's another one. I fell in love with this movie. I think Chloe Zao is an absolutely incredible director. I love the fact that they gave her this film because this movie, to me, this is a non-spoiler review, so this doesn't ruin anything because you've seen this in the trailer, but there's like a reference to Thanos and there's a reference to things that have happened in the MCU. But I think you can watch this movie and the lore that they set up with the Celestials and the Deviants, and I think that the Eternals, who were created by the Celestials, I think that if they set this lore up and they put this out there and you knew nothing about this kind of going into it. I knew nothing about this comic book. I never read anything about it. I just kind of went in fresh. I think I watched one trailer and that was it. And I think you would look at this as just another science fiction film. And it was refreshing. It does not feel, and I also preface this by saying, minus a few, I really enjoy the MCU. Most of them. But this doesn't feel like the MCU, and it was refreshing to see a movie that didn't feel like it had the same type of beats as a lot of the other films. Now, a lot of the other films have different feels as far as the genre goes. The Ant-Man felt like a spy film, and Winter Soldier felt like a kind of an Born Identity type film, or not spy film. For Ant-Man was more of a robbery heist film. Another one was a spy film, but you know what I'm saying? This one just felt in a different atmosphere altogether. It's all because of the way Chloe Zhao directs. And there's these long shots. It felt the most, and I don't want to sound like I'm not someone you would think of as like, well, he's a cinephile and he's a movie critic. I'm not. I'm just a dude reviews movies and talks about movies the same way that you guys do, but like this is a film. There are movies and then there are films. Neither one is right or wrong, but this is a film. And same composer as the composer of Game of Thrones, hence a lot of the actors I think that we got in there. There's probably a lot of people who knew the same people, whatnot. But what I will say is, what a cast. What a cast. Gemma Chan plays Cersei. Richard Madden is Icarus. Camille Najani is Kingo. Leah McHugh is Sprite. Brian Tyree Henry is Fastos. Lauren Ridloff is Makari. Madong Suk, is Gilgamesh. Barry Coogan is Druig and Salma Hayek. Ajax, and of course, Angelina Jolie is Thena. Now, when I say that, when I put all those names in, you're like, there's too many people. There's no way they're going to develop all of these people in a matter of time, make you care about them. And if I hadn't seen the movie, I'd probably agree with you saying that. I don't know how she does it, but she does it, and she makes it work. You're invested in all of these characters. At least I was. There's a lot of lore and a lot of stuff that they have to send, and you do have to pay attention to this movie. You can't I had to pee at one point, and I didn't want to, and I was sitting next to my friend Corey Andrew, and I said, dude, what did I miss? Because I'm sure I missed something, and sure as hell, I was gone for 2 minutes, and I missed a bunch. It's a lot of detail. There's a lot they want you to know. There's a lot they trust you with to be able to pay attention to of everything going on. And you have to say, wait, what? It's a movie you'd probably want to go back and watch again. But there's a lot of standouts in this movie overall because, like I said, you care so much about the characters because of the way that they set up. Like every single character that I read off, as I was going back to it and thinking about it, I said to myself, do I know? Oh, yeah, I know that person does this, and I can't get into a full spoiler yet. I'm going to do that next week. When I do, we can really kind of get into the backstory and why. But they're all standouts, to be honest with you. But strangely enough, the person I thought I was going to like the least in this film was Angelina Jolie. Not because I don't like Angelina Jolie, just because I figured this is going to be a big movie star who's going to try to steal the spotlight, and you're just going to see her, and you're going to see her as Angelina Jolie. You're not going to see her as Athena. Well, I was wrong. She has such a great lock on this character. You care about this character. Her relationship that she has with Gilgamesh Madong Suk, who, again, if I'm mispronouncing that, I apologize. But their relationship is great. And the other one is a big standout is Barry Keoghan as Druig. Wow. I've seen him in a bunch of stuff. I remember him in Dunkirk and a few other films, but man, does this character really hit. And Gemma Chan is the overall, she's the one who's taking you through it. And obviously Icarus, played by Richard Madden. But man, the humor, when you play into the humor of it, because that's always, sometimes Marvel movies, the humor is like hit or miss, right? And I think I've mentioned a few different times, I think that the humor in Guardians of the Galaxy 1 is perfect. I think the Guardians Galaxy 2 is just everybody gets a joke. It doesn't work for me because there's some funny jokes in it, no doubt, but like it just, everybody was handed a joke because that's where a joke would fit, and it didn't really fit the overall who was saying it, in my opinion. I know that I'm in the minority there. But in this, there's not a lot of humor in this movie. But when there is, it works, and a lot of the humor is fittingly enough, is from Kumail Nanjiani, who plays Kingo, and his arc and where he goes. They're all Eternals, and the idea is that these Eternals have been here for thousands of years, watching over humanity, but they can't get involved in anything. They can't get involved with, because even in the trailer, Kit Harington asked, "Why didn't you get involved when Thanos was doing his thing?" And they said, "We can't unless the Deviants show up. That's when we can get involved." And so when we're in this one, the Deviants, you see a little bit of it, and then the Deviants come back. And why are they coming back? What happens? Why do the Eternals have to band back together again in order to defeat the Deviants? Why? What's happening? So I like this stage of Marvel because this is more of kind of the weird sci-fi crap that I like. And I like they're doing stuff in Loki with alternate universes and multi-universes, and they're going to doing that with No Way Home. And so, and I'm really looking forward to both to the Flash coming out of DC, because multi-universe, parallel universe, that type of space and all that is all fascinating to me. So getting into this phase of what they're doing in general with Marvel and how Eternals now fits into all this, and that there are people kind of watching over, and the what if episode. So all this stuff speaks to me, but like it's the science fiction nature of what's happening in this movie that I loved. But the overall star of this movie is Chloe Zhao. She is just, from the movies that she did, obviously with Nomandland and The Rider. The Rider was a movie that I fell in love with. But the budget of this film, compared to the other budgets, and the fact that they trusted her to do it, great instincts on them, because she does it and then some. You cannot keep your eye off of this film. It is just mesmerizing. It's the first movie I've seen in the theater in like 2 years, to be completely upfront, but I'm glad it was. I saw it in IMAX. If you can see it in IMAX, you probably should. There's a lot of there's ups in this movie. There's downs in this movie. As I said, sometimes the majority of the times the humor hits. Sometimes it fell a little flat. Some people had a problem with the overall team and didn't think that they were cast well. I don't feel that way. I thought it was cast very well, and I believed the team. I believed the setup. I like there's a bouncing back and forth and showing you them throughout time and kind of how it all worked and how it played out. And I think that even though I see some people are going to talk about the length of the film, I think the length of the film was, even though I said maybe in the beginning, as I hear myself even talk about it, I said, maybe it's not necessary. I think the reason to go back and why I think these characters work so well and why each one of them has a backstory you care about is because of the length of the film. You had enough time. Still believe more so every day that TV is a better way to get a development of characters, but this is such a big movie on grand scale of the things that are happening, and and the way that you see things well, they saw it in the trailer. So the Celestials, when the Celestials show up, man, like just the CGI is fantastic. The natural locations that she uses a lot of that's really what I liked, and you can tell there's some stuff. I think some of the Deviants looked when I got used to it. At first I was like, okay, we're gonna go heavy CGI, and we don't in this one. There's one particular shot that I remember looking at where two characters hold hands, and she does this close up on the holding of the hands. And it's just such like a subtle moment, but it just had such an impact to me. And there's a lot of that throughout it. There's a lot of long shots. There's a lot of sweeping music. It is the most. This is I think the most different Marvel film that has come out. I don't know how everyone's going to like this movie. I'm not sure. It's very similar to Koji Andrew and I talked about this with Dune, where I think it's funny that they're coming around at the same time, because I had the same type of experience watching the both of them. I was refreshed on both. And I'm probably going to give it the same score that I gave Dune. I'm going 4.5 out of 5 schmoes. It's I really enjoyed this one. I understand, not for everybody, but it was for me. And it's one of the more enjoyable Marvel films I've seen in a bit. So anyway, that's my review of Eternals. It's not a spoiler review. We're going to do a little bit more of a dive, not a deep dive, but a dive on Big Thing tomorrow. If you don't know what Big Thing is, you can just find the channel for the first time. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we do a show called Big Thing, where we cover one of the big topics of the week. We are going to be covering both Eternals and Dune on tomorrow's episode, but it's not a spoiler. And then the following Monday, once everybody's seen the movie a little bit more, we're going to do a spoiler. We'll give people obviously the weekend to see the movie, and then we're going to do a full-on spoiler discussion on the following Monday of Eternals. But we're doing a Spider-Man rewatch every Friday. We're doing a Star Wars rewatch on Sith Council on Friday. So subscribe to the channel. We do reactions. We do all this stuff. We had Katie Sackhoff on from The Mandalorian. We had a great interview with her, CM Punk. So if you're brand new to the channel, please subscribe. Hope you enjoy it. Thank you so much for checking out the channel, and I appreciate it. And that's my review of Eternals. Peace.